Hello, and welcome to HCS Connects. I'm Kelly Gorel with Hampton City Schools. Today we have a very special guest with us that's here to really talk about the opportunities that is provided to our students and staff through a special foundation. So we have Arial Jones, our Executive Director for the Hampton Education Foundation.
Hi, how are you?
Well, thank you for being here.
No problem.
You know, the Education Foundation, it's been around for quite a while. Since, is it 2001?
Yep, about 2001. We did our first grant in 2007.
Okay, so 2001, first grant in 2007. But I think the word's still getting out is exactly what is the Hampton Education Foundation, which we call HEF. A lot of people call HEF. So tell us a little bit about HEF.
It is. A lot of people don't know that we exist, and we really just are here to help support the work that Hampton City Schools is doing. So we're a nonprofit, and we promote innovation in the classroom and learning. And so we do that through grants that we provide for teachers and then scholarships for students as well.
But you know, you say that a lot of people don't know you exist, but you've got a lot of teachers lately that have started applying for grants and so forth. But before we get into the grant piece, you know, you do have a board of directors. So you're not a one-man show.
I am not a one-man show, though this is a new position for our organization. In the past, it really has just been run by our board of directors who are all volunteer and represent different facets of the community, from business owners to teachers to community partners, those who might just have students in Hampton City Schools. So we really have a wide variety of people on our board, which really helps us to be really influential in the work that we're doing.
And about how large is the board?
Our board has about 20 members.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's a pretty large board, but very diverse, which is awesome.
That is excellent because they have different perspectives as far as how to you know, assist those students and the teachers in the classroom.
Yes.
So, you know, you're all about supporting the schools and the teachers and the students. And you talked about grant opportunities. Now you have a mini grant and you have an innovative grant. So tell us a little bit about both of those.
So we award grants once a year for our teachers to be able to use throughout the school year. And we have our innovative learning grants and our mini grants. Both are really there to help promote innovation and learning in the classroom. The mini grant is around $500, so you can get up to $500. And those are really used for materials or things that teachers are trying to use a lesson plan, and maybe they need clay for a project that they're doing in their classroom. So we kind of help provide clay or paint and smaller scale projects and things that they want to do. Where our innovative grants go up to $1,000.
Oh, wow.
And so those are going to be larger scale products. Our projects, maybe they're buying books for their classroom or they're buying robotics materials and things like that, but all going back to SOL initiatives, all going back to maybe 21st century learning initiatives. And so really helping to not just be fun in the class, but have fun coupled with learning and help make those principles stick.
And last year, how many grants were funded?
We did 46 grants last year, which was a record for us last year. So that was more than we had done previously.
But you are now awarding grants this year because the grant process is already, teachers submitted, what was it, October timeframe? And then you had a committee that looked at those applications. So tell us about the ones that are now just being selected or learning that they are a grant recipient.
Yes, so we just had our meeting to finalize these are the grants that we're funding, and we're funding $30,000 worth of grants this year, which is another record for us. That's about 50 grants that are being funded, 19 schools. So it's always exciting to be able to give that news to those teachers. And some of the fun ones that, well, they're all kind of fun, but some of them that stick out. There's one for Tarrant Middle School where we're learning about civil rights and how to protest peacefully, how to protest, how protests maybe were done in violent ways, and contrasting those two. And she's purchasing a book for all of them to be able to read and work through, but then also taking a technology component to it and making just digital representation of how we can do things in a peaceful way, and then bringing the author of that book in to be able to discuss her process in writing the book, and then help take those students on a literary journey and how they can, you know, tell their own stories through writing their own books and pieces of work. So that's really cool. We also have one from a first-time grant writer at Tucker Capps Elementary School, and she wanted to purchase this program to be able to make the literary concept. So we're talking about literary in a middle school concept, and then also in kindergarten. So they're just learning, you know, ABCs and letter groupings and things. And so there's augmented reality that takes those letters and makes them kind of real in the classroom so they can see the letter K 3D in their classroom. So we were able to provide the funding for her to purchase that equipment. And they've seen it in other school districts where it's just helped to accelerate how kindergartners are learning those fundamentals to be able to put those things together for later concepts, which is really cool.
That's excellent. And one that I remember from last year that I saw was at the high school level, because we have teachers that are applying elementary, middle, and high. And it was almost like an escape room kind of concept.
Yes, that one was really fun. That's on our Facebook page, so you should go back and look at that. But they were lock boxes, and each lock box had different types of combination locks, and it could have been letter combinations or key combinations, but they had to solve a series of codes to get the right code to be able to open up the boxes, and they all had to work together. And what was cool about that program was that it was a librarian who purchased the program, but she was taking concepts from, if it was geography and that teacher wanted to use this, then she was taking clues and concepts from what they were learning in geography class that they had to then work together to unlock it. So it was really cool how it could be adapted to no matter what class she was working with, she could make it relevant to what they were learning in class.
Well, I like what you said, it was a librarian. So it's not just have to be that core classroom teacher that can apply for grants.
And we have a number of non-core teachers who apply, a lot of counseling grants that we award, art teachers, librarians. Another one we did last year for Kickingham High School was a librarian who worked with an art teacher, who worked with a business class teacher, and they all came together and did murals on the library windows.
So you made a comment earlier about like, well, no one really knows about us. I don't think that's true.
The teachers know.
The teachers know. You've got teachers over 50 grants this year in 19 schools.
Yes.
I mean, that's your good word is spreading quickly. How much money has been awarded through grant money since 2007?
So with this last cycle that we just awarded in October, we have passed the $400,000 mark, which is amazing.
That is absolutely amazing. That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost $500,000.
And that's staying here in Hampton. So all of our funding stays for Hampton City Schools and helps our teachers.
So, okay, almost $500,000 since the first grant was awarded in 2007. You know, where are you getting this money from?
And that's really how things are shifting for us. So since the inception of our organization, it's really been from private foundations that maybe have an earmark towards education and want to help fund this work. And so that's really where the majority of the funds have come from. But in the past 2 years, we've expanded from just private foundations to private donors. So the individual who wants to give $50 or $10 or $100 really helps to rise and help us to give out over $400,000.
Well, and last year you participated in Give Local 757.
We did.
And did a campaign. You had a Facebook Live that ran every hour, and you interviewed those teachers and so forth. So that's a perfect example of a fundraising event.
Yes.
Where you're getting those private donors. You also have an event coming up at the end of November.
We do, Giving Tuesday. So Giving Tuesday is a national day of giving, just to encourage people to be philanthropic during the holiday season. And so we're going to participate in that this year, and that's November 27th. And so you can give on our website and then also on Facebook for that day and any time to help with the work we're doing.
Well, when you say give, how do they give?
So you can give a number of ways. Old school check and cash, we take those sent to us, but then also we have PayPal set up on our website, so the Hampton Education Foundation.org. You can give there any time of the year, whether we're doing Give Local 757 or Giving Tuesday or just any day you want to be supporting the work that we're doing.
Well, and supporting in that work, you know, you've really gone into depth about supporting teachers, but you also support students. You have scholarships. So talk about the scholarships a little bit.
So we do a Mike Candy Scholarship once a year, and we award that to students, and not just the student who has excelled academically, but really the student who had to overcome a challenge. That was Mike Canty's heart, and so we try to keep that going through the scholarship that we do in his honor. And that is one that we're really passionate about because we're giving a student an opportunity who might not be able to go to to school to help fund that a little bit and make that easier for them.
So what is that process? How do students, learn information about that? When is the application process?
So that happens the second part of the year. So I believe the application process opens around January, where they can begin to start applying for it, and they find out through their guidance counselors. So all guidance counselors have information for that. It's for high school seniors, so those who are going to college. And then we also disseminate that information through Hampton City Schools, through the marketing and publicizing that you all do, as well as through guidance counselors.
So to be on the lookout in January for that. And how much is that scholarship?
It's $1,000.
So $1,000 for a student as well. And then just recently, so you're supporting teachers with $40,000 worth of grants. You're supporting a student through a scholarship. But then you've also recently taken on an initiative that Hampton City Schools is working on. And you had a fundraiser event for that. Why don't you?
We did. So Hampton Reads One Book is a really cool project that Hampton City Schools is working on. And that's kind of our goal too, in helping with the teachers and the scholarships, but also being that nonprofit arm, we're able to pass through money to Hampton City Schools to be able to use for specific ways that donors, earmark it for. And so Hampton Reads One Book is a partnership that we had with the
with Dr. Kelly
with Dr. Kelly Cito.
Yeah.
And so she had this great idea of having a book that all middle and elementary school students are reading together at one time, taking learning outside of the classroom and taking it home, and came to us with, how do we fund this? And so we were able to work with our business partners like Old Point National Bank, who was a huge sponsor for this, as well as individual donors, put on a great event and have raised money. We raised almost $25,000 to help this project launch and go into the hands of students next year.
Yeah, and that project I believe will actually launch in the spring, so there will be more information coming out about that in the next few months. But again, in order to launch a project, you need to be able to fund it.
Yes.
So you all have started with that funding aspect, so that the Hampton Reads One Book initiative, our kindergarten and elementary students and their families can participate in that project.
Yes.
So a lot of great things going on, and it's even though those grants are being awarded right now, have been they've been chosen. You're going out to schools. Where do we stay connected all year round to know what's going on with the Hampton Education Foundation, or just even find out more information?
So we have our website, HamptonEducationFoundation.org, which is a part of Hampton City Schools website, so you can find us by going to either one. And then we also are on Facebook, so we promote, especially our grants. We love to showcase how our money is being used, how it's being implemented in the hands of the teachers and the students. So we share information all the time. Our teachers are really good about selling their stories. And so that's on Facebook, and that's Hampton Education Foundation on Facebook. And then Ed Foundation on Twitter.
So we can find you on Twitter. We can find you on Facebook. We can find you on the HCS division homepage. You've got a link off of there.
Yes.
And of course, at any time, they can contact you directly, especially you would love to always take their money, correct?
Yes, I will take your money all year round, any time of day.
Because ultimately it's going right back into the classroom to support our students.
And that's one great thing about our organization. We have a low overhead due to our partnership with Hampton City Schools. So majority of the funding that we receive is going directly into the hands of our teachers and our students, which is awesome.
Well, that's great. Well, you definitely are not a secret. And you are building momentum, and $25,000 for the One Book Initiative, $40,000 in grants just this year for teachers. So we look forward to partnering with the Education Foundation as we support our teachers and our staff and our students and build that momentum.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to November 27th.
Yes.
And will you be on Facebook that day?
Yes, I will be on Facebook that day.
You will be on
more of my face.
Well, we'll make sure that we share that as well, so that we can definitely get some community support and parent support, and hopefully raise some more money for some projects.
We'll take it. Thanks.
Well, thank you for being here.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. And thank you for joining us on HCS Connects. In the meantime, stay connected with us. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Take a look at our website and our TV station. Thanks, and have a great day.